Okay, let's talk about Palantir. For years, this company was basically a black box, super secretive, kind of controversial. But then in 2026, something just exploded. Not in the real world, but on their financial statements. And honestly, it changed everything we thought we knew about them.
It really all comes down to this one wild number, 127. So in the software world, there's this metric called the Rule of 40. It's kind of like a health check for a company. If your score is above 40, you're doing great. But a score of 127, that's not just great, it's almost unheard of. It basically puts Palantir in a category all by itself.
And what fueled that score? A jaw-dropping 70% revenue growth in a single quarter. Now look at the rest of the software world. They're happy with 10, maybe 15%. Palantir didn't just beat that average, they completely dwarfed it. This wasn't just a good quarter. You could tell a fundamental shift was happening. And when you see performance like that, you have to ask the question, how did a company known for its shadowy government work suddenly turn into this hyper-growth monster? Well, to understand that, we have to start tearing down some of the old myths.
First up, the biggest myth of them all, that Palantir is just a spy tech company working for the CIA and the military. And while, yeah, that's definitely where they got their start, it is so not the whole story anymore.
For most of its history, sure, its identity has been tied to those big government contracts. But the real engine behind all this new growth, the thing that's making Wall Street's head spin, is what's happening in the private sector. It's like the company suddenly has two incredibly powerful engines, and both are firing at once.
And here is where the story gets really, really interesting. The government business is still growing at a rock-solid 55%, which is amazing. But that's not even the main event anymore. The commercial side of the business, that's where the real explosion is.
109% year-over-year growth. This is the number that proves Palantir finally crossed the chasm, as they say. They are no longer just a government contractor, they are a full-blown enterprise software powerhouse.
So what on earth are they selling to these companies that's causing this kind of boom? Well, that brings us right to myth number 2, that Palantir is just another fancy dashboard for looking at big data. Trust me, it's so much deeper than that.
The company's secret weapon is something called an ontology. The best way to think about it is like a digital twin of an entire business. It's this semantic map that teaches an AI that a submarine is connected to a supply route, and that a delay in one is going to affect the production of the other. It's this context that stops the AI from making really expensive, nonsensical mistakes.
It all works in 3 pretty simple steps. First, it maps out the logic of the business. Then, it connects all the data to ground the AI in physical reality. And only then does it unleash the AI so the human teams can actually use it with confidence, because the AI understands consequences, not just correlations in the data. Now, for years, the critics always argued that building these complex ontologies for every customer, well, that wasn't really a software company. It was just a high-cost consulting firm in disguise. They said the business could never, ever truly scale. And that brings us to our third and final myth. They absolutely shattered this myth by completely reinventing their sales model. They call it the AIP Bootcamp. So instead of months of boring sales pitches, they just invite potential clients to a 5-day hands-on workshop to solve a real problem, using their own data. And this just shows you the insane new speed of the business. By day 5, the client walks away with a working solution, not a PowerPoint deck. The proof is right there. And the result? A healthcare company recently signed a $96 million contract after going to just 2 of these boot camps. The game has been completely changed. But look, this story isn't all just hypergrowth and happy customers. To get the full picture, we have to look at the very real risks and the serious ethical questions that just continue to follow this company around. From an investor's point of view, the risks are pretty significant. The stock is priced for perfection, trading at an extreme 120 times forward earnings. It's still heavily reliant on U.S. government contracts, its international growth is lagging a bit, and shareholders are constantly getting diluted by stock-based compensation. Any misstep could be incredibly punishing. And then there are the controversies. The most significant one is about its contracts with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. Reports have come out saying its software is used to build what's called Immigration OS, which is a system that can identify and locate potential deportation targets. And as you can imagine, that's led to widespread public protest. Now for his part, Palantir's very outspoken CEO, Alex Karp, he defends the work. He argues that the technology actually provides essential guardrails and audit trails, making it harder for government agencies to operate outside of legal and ethical boundaries.
So where does all of this lead? What Palantir is building next goes way beyond just data analysis. They're really aiming to create an entirely new paradigm for how AI operates out in the real world.
They call it agentic AI hives. Okay, so forget about an AI that just gives you suggestions. This is about creating teams of autonomous AI agents, giving them a mission, like optimize our supply chain, and then just letting them execute it.
And this is the fundamental shift. We are moving from AI as a decision support tool, where it helps a human make a choice, to AI as a decision execution platform, where it autonomously adjusts shipping routes, reorders parts, and manages logistics in real time without any human intervention.
And that leaves us with a final and pretty provocative question. We're building a world where autonomous AI doesn't just advise us, it runs our critical infrastructure. The question is no longer if this is our future. The only question is, what will it mean when we get there?